Tonight at the Prix CIRCOM Gala, where we will all be attending, of course, we'll see plenty more, but now you're already going to meet 2 winners and a commended prize. They will be introduced to you by a lady from Ireland. Her name is Caroline, and now comes the difficult part for me, because all these Dutch names like Verhagen and Klaas-Geert, it's all easy. Okay, here it comes. Her name is Caroline Duhan. Hope that worked. Yeah, she's okay with it, thank God. She will introduce these winners and commended people. If you want to see more material, remember, just outside the conference hall, you can see it on big screens, and you can also use the laptops to see some entries yourself, because all entries are there to be seen, not just winners, all entries. I'll give the floor to Caroline. Give you some microphones to go with that.
It works, great. Hello, my name is Caroline Duhan, as I've been introduced there, and I'm here from TG4 in Ireland. And today we're going to discuss the impact that social media can have in amplifying the linear schedule, or else something which we've incorporated in TG4 is we've created social media hubs. So one of the ones that I will be fronting currently in TG4 is Block, and that's aimed at 18 to 35-year-olds, that audience that we all love to try and get, that are very difficult to attain. So what we have been doing is been placing a lot of the emphasis on UGC, or user-generated content. Another thing we've been doing is training a lot of mojos, and I know that's a huge part of CIRCOM, and we will be discussing that also within our chat. I'm joined here today by Jenny Vidal, SVT Ost, and Jenny is winner of Minorities in Society, A Boy Like Liam. We've also got Halbe Peter Klaus, excuse my pronunciation, and is it good? And Halbe is from Omfra, Friesland, and congratulations on being commended for the category Entertainment and Drama for Geneva du Free, which is a vlog soap made specifically for online. And finally, we've got Zina here from TV2 FYN Denmark, winner of News Stories for All. So to begin today's session, we're going to have a quick look at A Healthier Funen, which was the winner of News Stories for All. 1 second.
Et samarbejde mellem TV2 Fyn, Syddansk Universitet og Odense Universitetshospital var nu en realitet. Sammen fandt de på navnet Et Sundere Fyn, og planlægningen gik i gang.
Et Sundere Fyn, der er det borgeren, der er med til at bedømme, hvilke forskningsprojekter, der skal i gang sættes. Men det er jo vigtigt, at det ikke er den eneste bedømmelse, der foregår. Altså at forskerne også selv er med til at kvalitetssikre de projekter, som der bliver stemt om. Og derfor tror jeg, det er vigtigt, at forskningsrådene har været inde over.
Forskningsrådet har jo ligesom kun sendt har valgt at sende 5 projekter videre, og jo med den anbefaling, at vi vil stå bag de projekter og sige, at dem mener vi kan gennemføres. Det er nogle dygtige forskere, der vil lave dem, og forskningsmetode og forskningsspørgsmål er i orden.
Og det er her, at Et Sundere Fyn ligesom gør noget nyt, eller i hvert fald i forhold til mange andre citizen science-projekter, det er at inddrage medierne, altså i virkeligheden professionalisere den formidlingsdel, som foregår som en del af projektet.
Journalister fra TV2 Fyn arbejdede nu på at formidle de 5 forskningsprojekter til fynboerne.
5 forskellige forskningsprojekter har muligheden for at vinde 1 million kroner fra OUH's forskningsråd, og det er jer seere, der bestemmer.
Hver dag efter den 19. april blev fynboerne præsenteret for et nyt forskningsprojekt på TV2 Fyn.
Congratulations, first of all, on your success. Well, it's very obvious there that civic journalism is civic science, and integrating the public is very important. Can you give us a quick overview of your project, and more specifically the emphasis that you placed on social media?
Yeah, I can. First of all, social media was really important for us because, as you can see, the project was about getting people to vote on our healthcare research project. The goal for us was to get as many people as possible to vote, and in that way, social media became really important. So to reach the target group, we used social media, especially Facebook, where we put on a lot of content about the 5 different projects. So yeah, it was really important to us to use social media.
And did people respond was there a great response back to you on this project?
Yeah, there was, because we had one project about breast cancer, and people with breast cancer or knowing people with breast cancer was really glad that we promoted this research project and that they had the possibility to win 100 million crowns.
Okay.
So in that way, they were happy.
Okay, and I suppose what's interesting in the terms of creating content for social media is it changes from the montages that we're used to seeing perhaps as promos and stuff, and you're getting this bite-sized content. Is this something that's important for your channel in general, in the recreation of content to fit the social platforms?
Yeah, I mean, we social media is really important for us, and the content for social media is different from broadcasting. Mm-hmm. So what we do is picking out cases who can show why the project is very important, and in that way people will know why it's important. So we use it that way, and we also think a lot about destination. We don't only distribute things on Facebook, we also put a lot of time in getting the content in groups. For example, the breast cancer idea, we put it in groups with people who has breast cancer. And that way we got people to engage with the content.
And we would probably be talking a little more about engagement and finding out, number one, where your audience are before you decide on the platform that you align your content with. But for now, we're going to have a quick look just so that we get a general overview of everybody's work here. We'll have a look at Jennifer de Vries. I think I have to click it here, 1 second. So this is your work, Halbe.
De rennen zit alle keer een beetje langs en die rennen dan te sharen wat ik doe. Maar dat is iets wat ik wil. Want ik vind het echt noodzakelijk dat het gebeurt. Dus ik vind het gewoon terug dat het spannend is. Het ligt maar beter. Tjoe, iedereen shit. Ik ben best wel een beetje trots op mezelf. Maar ik ben nog heel fier. En de hele tijd nog terug. Oh, dan moet ik natuurlijk dat beginsje nog zien. Oké, en door. Ik heb gewoon in één keer heel veel ophang. En al die auto's rijden hier dus wel, dus ik kan het alle keer zien. Oké, dit is dus echt vet gênant. Want ik ben dus vannacht oppakt. Omdat ik die pamfletten heb verspreid. Heb ik hier de hele nacht vers zitten in een 4 liter kutcel. Nou, hier trouwens heb ik vers zitten, echt verschrikkelijk. Maar ze hebben alles van mij oppakt. En dat kreeg ik alle keer weer waarom. En ik mocht hier niemand bellen, die me eruit kon helpen. En dat was Jordi. Jordi! Fuck, wacht wel even. Nou.
Hey, haal dit ding weg, hè?
Congratulations.
Thank you.
I mean, this was a very interesting project because, as we talked about earlier, this was made specifically for online. So we've got the structure of online, the looseness of online is very apparent. Can you tell us a little bit about it? And of course, the social media presence.
Yes, this is a flux soap. This is a crossover between a fiction, movie and documentary. You can call it also reality TV online. So what we did, we scripted a complete story. And we made it in vlog form, so because our target group was the age 16 to 20, and our idea is that online YouTube is a good platform to reach this audience.
So some of the judges were wondering if it was fictional. parts of it were, but that's allowed too, because you can do that on TV, but sometimes people feel in the reality cases online that they should be real, but we can create a little bit of fiction. Well, you're targeting the 16 to 20-year-old group with your content. A very difficult group to get. What are the main challenges you faced, and what advice would you have for people out there that are trying to target that group?
I think it's always about the story. So your story has to be good, and then you need to look at the form and approach. So the vlog is very popular in this audience. So we just adopted it, and we used the classical drama production method, and we placed it on a different form.
I suppose now we'll come back to the structure and some of the pitfalls and ways of working around it, but we'll go to you, Jenny, now. Jenny Videll is from SVT Ost in Sweden, and she's winner of Minorities in Society for a Boy Like Liam. So let's just have a quick look at that, and you can tell us a little bit about it then, Jenny.
Första gången var han ju bara 11 år. Och det var fruktansvärt att få det beskedet. Det kom in 2 stycken stora karlar som jobbar där och sa att nu har ni 15 minuter att säga hej då.
Och sen fick jag vara på en rastgård som har med högstaket och taggtråd.
Han är liksom i grunden en jätteglad kille, men han har tryckts ner om och om igen och får hela tiden börja om med människor. Nu har han levt i ett ingenmansland jättelänge. Alltså, var ska han hamna?
Det här är Liam, bara några månader gammal, i Norrköping. Han vet ännu inte att han 13 år senare ska ha gjort en resa längre och krokigare än vad många andra gör under ett helt liv.
Okay, well, Liam's story definitely has international resonance. The story itself was obviously very strong, and it was an impactful story. But how important for you was the social media presence in this story?
I think social media is always important for me, and through the whole process, I think. I use social media a lot in my research, and then I use my personal social media platform to get in touch with people, to find, this is how I found Jenny, which is Liam's mother. And I join closed Facebook groups and with specific narrow interests, and so you talk about filter bubbles. I think that's in a negative way, but sometimes it's really good to really reach those smaller groups because they're very engaged. And then I usually go out and ask them questions. What is the problem? What do you think we should report about? And I get a lot of answers. And then when after producing the story, I can come back to all these different groups and distribute it and share it and ask for their comments and reactions, and they share it. And so it really reaches a lot of people.
And it's an interesting concept because you've started with social media and you worked your way backwards, whereas some people do the opposite. They start with the linear and then they decide, how can I amplify this with social media? You did start specifically with this campaign for social media. So can you tell us a little bit about how you structured your material accordingly? Because this is something that it's something that we in TG Care are working with, where, for example, if there's programs being made, we send out a separate crew who will shoot the social media schedule that we will then put out on our platforms to ensure that it lives in the ecosystem that is linked to social media and that it's not just TV put on social. So maybe if you want to tell us a little bit about how you did that, how you created it for social and then you divvied it out.
Yeah, this story we try to tell in many ways, and we were really experimenting on this. because this is the documentary, and we produced that specifically for the online audience. It hasn't been published, broadcast. And then we produced the linear features, because we wanted the long story to be kind of pure and not so news report like. So we started with that, and then we produced the linear features with more experts and other interviews and research. We could refer to studies and so on. And we also made shorter clips, like 45 seconds clips, especially for the social media audience, where we could have just the mother saying, my son was locked up, he was only 11 years old, he was terrified. Listen to the mother, or here's the expert. Very targeted clips.
And targeting is something that's very important. You can do that obviously through Facebook and the various platforms. Is this something that is important for you, Zina, at TV2 in terms of the targeting of groups?
Yeah, it's really important. Of course, it is, and we do it a lot, and we think it a lot when we produce content, because a good story can be a good story on Facebook and on broadcasting and on Instagram, on web, whatever. But you have to create the content to the platform. You have to be very true to the platform. Actually, we are doing a new thing in our station where we are producing digital journalism to social media only. So we go out and make a story, often with a case who has something in mind. We had this really funny story about the dating app Tinder, and we made it as a vox pop where the people were in this Tinder space, and they told us why they used it, and it worked really well on Facebook. But we also did it for broadcasting, but of course not the same content. We did it with a voiceover and an attack from one of the person we interviewed, and then we had a guest in the studio telling about why is Tinder so important for the young people and what is the culture here. So in that way we can create content to different platforms, but the same story. Yeah, that's what we are doing a lot right now.
And I suppose you mentioned there the social aspect of a huge part that we have to try and portray in TG Care with the content that we create for online is to ensure that it is social. So rather than just creating content and leaving it sit on the various platforms, how do you make it social? And that's one of the biggest challenges that we have. So a huge part for us is the talent that we choose. So, for example, Block, the campaign that I'm working on at the minute, we take in a lot of user-generated content. Now, it's a very difficult road. There's loads of pitfalls. There's lots of personalities that you're dealing with, because these people are creating social content for their own platforms. And then you're taking them and you're putting them out on a national platform to give it resonance, but it comes with its baggage. Jennifer de Vries is an example of somebody. The sourcing of talent and then the competing against the algorithms and all of this sort of stuff is a huge part to play in how we deal with social content. How do you deal with that?
How did I find her?
Yeah, how did you find her, and how, in terms of user-generated content, how important is it for you?
Now, so before Jennifer de Vries, we made also a couple of drama series, and we had auditions, and we keep the pictures and the videos. So when I started with this, I didn't have auditions because I wanted it to be a secret. So I just picked her, And your second question was?
I suppose it's the thing is it better to go out and find people who have made a name for themselves currently out there? Or is it better to train new mojos and new journalists? Have you any opinion on that?
I don't know. I just work with actors, but I know that communicating with your audience is very important. So what we did with Jennifer de Vries, we made it in 9 days at the Caribbean, 30 episodes of Jennifer de Vries, and then we uploaded it in 3 months. So people could react on it, but we only could reply in text. as Jennifer de Vries.
Okay.
It's a bit a halfway transmedia form way of telling stories. But this year we are going to make the last scene of each episode in the same week as the upload, so we can respond on comments and twist the story each week a little bit.
And you mentioned earlier as well the importance in relevancy and recency when it comes to social content. So a huge emphasis, how relevant, what value does it add to your viewer, and how often do you post? These are all questions that have to be asked, particularly with people who are in minority languages, but maybe they don't have the big budget to post every day. How important is relevancy and recency?
First of all, the content has to be good. It has to be beautiful, because the market is killing. There is so much good and nice stuff, so you have to compete with it. And in this case, Frisian is a niche, so that's in our advanced. So we used it in a way. Yeah.
I suppose at this point we may, if anybody has any questions, is there any questions out there that you'd like to ask in relation to social media? Yes, I don't know if you have a mic.
Baseball skills.
Thank you. With regards to the kind of Jennifer de Vries YouTube kind of storytelling, who's watching it? What kind of audience is watching it? Who's your...
That's a good question. We made it for educational purpose. So we try to establish Frisian language more in middle class and higher education. So there's also material you can use in the lessons Frisian. So.
And can I ask another quick question? So this is going on YouTube as well.
It's only going on YouTube.
Only going on YouTube.
And a part of it on Instagram stories.
And I think a question about YouTube is finding that kind of sweet spot with duration, because on Facebook people expect shorter content. I think audience habits on YouTube are to watch kind of longer videos. What do you find is the retention rate for your videos? Are people watching the majority of it, or people watching the whole thing? Just because it's an interesting concept and it's a very kind of niche thing. So I wonder whether you see great retention.
Yeah. So first I have to say, when you upload 3 months, 2 times a week content around 5 minutes, it's not enough to build a very big audience and to get your viewer. So what we did, we really invested in advertisement. So we pushed it in the timelines of our target group. And we also experimented with Instagram to get our audience from Instagram to YouTube. And our experience was that normal posts on Instagram didn't work that well as Instagram stories, so it's about the slide. And so halfway the project we focused on stories only. And your second question was how long?
Yeah. So how long
do they watch?
Yeah. How long?
I think approximately half. The half. Yeah.
Thank you.
This is something that we're noticing in TG Care as well. The Insta stories are having much more of an effect than the actual uploading the stories online. We're getting much more of a following every time we do takeovers. Is this something that you've noticed with this, the increase of ephemeral content?
Yeah. We just tried it out. We are really experimenting with Instagram as well. And we had something called Royal Run last weekend, where the Crown Prince, he turned 50 and he celebrated with all the people in Denmark. And in our city they were celebrating as well with a run through the city. So we did Instagram as well as we did broadcasting, but Instagram was a content part as well. And how we did it was to make a story through the day with a goal. So you can ask on story, who do you want to meet, the prince or the princess? Okay. And by that we got users to engage with us. So they, in the day they chose the princess. So I had to chase the princess in the day, and people were following and commenting, oh, we want to see her. And in that way we were really engaging with the people who was watching the story. Yes. And by the time, over 1,000 people watched the story, and for us that's pretty good.
And this is something Anthony Brown mentioned to me last week, and Anthony will be talking shortly from BBC The Social regarding keeping it a little bit loose for social and not so formatted. Is there any other questions that anybody would like to ask? No. No?
Already,
I think we're ready to wrap up. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you all. Thank you, Caroline.
I just